"Your ticket doesn't belong here," Kristen Walsh snapped. Her voice clipped, cold. She didn't ask Julian Carter's name, didn't scan his boarding pass. She just looked at his dark skin, tailored blazer, calm presence, and tore the ticket in half. "Try economy," she added, with a smirk that wasn't even trying to be subtle. Gasps rippled through the first-class cabin of Apex Air Flight 227. A woman clutched her pearls. A man in 3B peeked over his newspaper. But no one spoke, not yet. Julian didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He bent down, picked up the shredded ticket, and quietly took his seat in 2A, calm, upright, silent. But behind that silence, something was already moving. Not rage, strategy. Kristen stood in the aisle, arms crossed, like she'd just won something. "You people never learn," she muttered, just loud enough. Across the cabin, Diane Heiler, blonde, wealthy, smug, leaned forward from seat 2C. "You can switch with me, sweetheart. Might be more comfortable, in the back." Julian didn't respond. Then Kristen tapped the seat controls. The light dimmed. The recline jammed. The call button disabled. "Malfunctioning," she announced. But a phone lifted in row 4. Noah Reed, young filmmaker, was already recording. "Ma'am, is that seat malfunctioning, or is it just the passenger?" The air changed, like a storm was about to roll in. But Julian? He adjusted his cufflink and stared forward as if none of it mattered. The calm before the reckoning. And then Kristen returned, with a plastic cup. She asked, "Would you like some water?" Before Julian could answer, the water splashed across his lap. "Oops," she said, all fake sweetness. But what Julian said next changed everything. "This plane has a leak far worse than that cup." But he hadn't even stood up yet. Kristen's smug smile faded when Julian didn't flinch. No raised voice, no confrontation. Just a steady hand calmly wiping the spill with a napkin. But across the cabin, tension thickened like fog. Row 5, aisle seat. Mia Jang, influencer with 1 million followers, had gone live on her phone. Caption: "Racist flight attendant humiliates black man in first class. #JulianGate." She spun, "Phones down, now, or we'll call security." Too late. The feed was climbing, fast. From the rear lavatory, a woman walked forward. Sharp black suit, no badge, no fuss, just a glance toward Julian and a subtle nod. Isabel Gomez, Vanguard's internal ethics officer. She didn't recognize her, that was the point. "Ticket still doesn't scan," she snapped again. "You're not on the manifest." Julian reached into his blazer and retrieved the sleek black card, Apex Air Platinum, engraved with his initials. Kristen scoffed. "This doesn't mean anything." But a voice answered from the front galley. "Actually, it means everything." Evan Brooks stepped into the aisle, young, sharp, holding a VX-authorized tablet. He handed it to Julian, then stepped aside. Julian tapped 3 times. The screen lit up. "This is my seat, my flight." A pause. "My company." Diane Heiler blinked. "Excuse me?" A stocky man from the back rushed forward, yelling, "I don't feel safe. He's aggressive." Julian turned slowly. "I've said less than 20 words since boarding. But," he added, voice calm, "if you want to see disruption, give it 7 more minutes." Noah Reed whispered to his camera, "He's not bluffing. This flight's about to make history." But even Noah didn't know what was coming next. In the lavatory, Isabel tapped her encrypted tablet. With a single secure ping, she sent internal footage, Kristen tearing Julian's boarding pass, the water incident, and passenger manifest to Vanguard Chairman Gregory Holt. She copied 3 board members, 1 federal compliance officer, and a PR crisis firm. In seat 2A, Julian remained still, calm as ever. Kristen leaned in. Your seat was marked void. The system flagged it. Next to her, flight tech Tyler Quinn nodded nervously. It's a system error, he mumbled.
But Julian had designed that system. He tilted the tablet. Tyler, I know every line of code behind that error, and every misuse is traceable. Diane Heller, still lounging, leaned across. Look, I'll make this worth your while, she whispered, sliding an envelope into Kristen's palm. Some people just don't belong here. We both know that. Click. Noah zoomed in, Kristen's fingers closing over the envelope, Diane's smug face, Julian's unreadable expression. Across the aisle, Mia whispered into her live stream mic. They just bribed her. On camera. This is federal. In the back galley, Isabel routed the footage directly to Apex Air's internal compliance and the FAA. Subject line, urgent, bribery, tampered passenger data. Up front, Evan leaned in. Chairman Holt is on secure line. Isabel confirmed Tyler's digital manipulation. Phase Sigma, 90 seconds. Suddenly, every screen buzzed. Wi-Fi surged, tablets lit up, notifications poured in. Mia's stream hit 20,000 viewers. Kristen looked around, her grip on control slipping. Julian hadn't spoken above a whisper, but the air around him shifted. This wasn't a confrontation anymore. This was a takedown. The ceiling projector, usually reserved for safety demos, descended silently. The Apex Air logo flickered on. Then came something no one expected, a live feed of the boardroom in New York. Faces of executives filled the screen, some pale, some stunned. One whispered, "Is that Julian Carter?" A digital timer began counting down, 3 minutes, 59 seconds. Kristen's mouth hung open. What is this? Julian didn't look at her. This, he said, is the shareholder meeting, and I'm the majority. Gasps rippled down the aisle. Tyler scrambled with his tablet, trying to shut it down, but his screen flashed red, access revoked, system admin override. In economy, Isabel quietly typed commands. Every override anticipated, every escape sealed. Kristen tried to recover. She marched forward, grabbed Julian's briefcase from the overhead, and slammed it into his lap. You'll need this when security escorts you off, she hissed, loud enough for others to hear. He didn't move. I suggest you step away, Julian said softly. It wasn't a request. It was an ending. Diane hit the call button. We're being held hostage by theatrics. But the screen now showed high-res footage. Kristen tearing the pass, the bribe, the water, the fake manifest. Narration followed. Internal footage confirms targeted profiling, violation of federal anti-discrimination protocol. It was Isabel's voice. Kristen staggered, her posture crumbled. From the galley, the captain emerged, printed report in hand. On top, CEO, Vanguard Enterprises. Evan leaned close to Julian. Sigma, go for launch. All board approvals in. Julian gave the nod. And then the lights dimmed. But it wasn't the end. It was the reset. The cabin lights dimmed, devices blinked off. For a second, it seemed Apex Air had wrestled back control. Kristen exhaled, convinced the crisis was passing. Then, flicker. The projector roared back to life. Julian Carter, live on screen holding a matte black device synced to Vanguard's backup server. Nice try, but I own the infrastructure too. Gasps. Passengers began whispering, filming again. Some applauded. Diane clutched her Chanel bag like it could shield her. Tyler slumped into a jump seat, defeated. Kristen froze, pale. Julian stood, not with fury, but with gravity. He said, "This flight is grounded, not by weather, but by the weight of unchecked bias." He raised one finger and tapped his screen. 3:16 p.m. EST, Apex Air fleet shutdown initiated by majority shareholder. A moment captured by every phone in the cabin. It would headline the news for weeks. In the cockpit, ground control received the alert. At terminals nationwide, monitors updated. Apex Air. Operational hold. All flights suspended. Kristen stepped forward, trembling. "You can't fire me from here. This isn't protocol." He turned, calm. "It's not protocol. It's correction." Then came the final blow. The screen showed Apex's internal training footage. Kristen, months earlier, in a crew meeting. "Some people aren't fit for first class. You can tell before they even hand you your ticket." Laughter. Tyler's voice in the background. Back in real time, Isabel announced via speaker. "Terminations confirmed. Kristen Walsh, Tyler Quinn, Diane Heller banned from Apex Air indefinitely." The passengers didn't cheer. They nodded, slowly, deliberately. Julian turned to them and said clearly, "This airline will fly again, but not until it earns the right to carry all of us." And with that, he sat back in 2A. Not just reclaiming a seat, reclaiming the system. Justice didn't roar. It whispered, and the world still heard it. Thanks for watching this video. Julian Carter didn't raise his voice. He raised the standard. His calm response to injustice reminds us that real power doesn't need to shout. If you believe silent strength can change systems, share your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this.